I'd like to start not with data mapping or slope selections, but your end-to-end workflow. If this is broken or disjointed in some way, it doesn't matter how efficient any one step of your analysis is. To reach a true flow state, you need a process and tool set that's informed by answers to the big operational questions you see here on the screen. And the answers usually aren't simple. You likely have multiple data sources, conflicting data standards, maybe fuzzy rules for data point exclusion, and chances are you're called upon for all sorts of deliverables. For example, CDISC domains and data sets, a particular amount of tables, listings, and figures that you might need for a report. There's also the question of where to effectively store these deliverables. Do you need a chain of custody, a compliant GXP repository, or just a simple audit trail? If you're asking these questions in the middle of a project and can't get the answers immediately, it's too late. You've already lost time, and now you have to try to make it up in some way. So if you happen to be reconsidering your workflow now, I'd encourage you to think about the common challenges of each part of the workflow you see here. Does it take too long to prepare the data? Does the data prep contain errors in some way? Does flagging the prepared data involve another round with a biostats or programming team? Or does it require you to create another set of data tables to input to your NCA? Are you spending far too much time creating TFLs and reports that don't show the clarity and conventions you want them to? If these questions sound familiar, we are here to help. For the past 2 years, the Phoenix team and myself here at Cetara have been working hard to deliver a solution that combines these must-haves. We're pleased to say that it arrived in the fall of 2025. Phoenix Cloud links every step from data ingestion to report generation in a single workflow. For each of the 4 stages you see here, we have a cloud-based tool that either automates or guides your work, all while maintaining data provenance and audit trails. These tools work together, and increasingly so, with AI. For today's webinar, we will mainly focus on the first 2 parts of this flow, preparing your data and analyzing that data. We will briefly touch on creating the tables, listings, and figures, as well as the report through TFL Studio and AI PK reports. But for detailed information on each of these, we will have a separate webinar scheduled. Today's demo will be showing you where we go from repository to report, utilizing the 3 main products we'll cover today: WinNonlin, PK Submit, and Integral. First, we need to go over the business case for this particular demo. So I am a PK analyst who works at pharma, and I need to quickly turn around some results from an NCA and generate a TK memo. So let's look over the logistics of what goes on with that. I might receive source data for a study that might require some merging. In this particular demo we're doing today, we're receiving source data from a single ascending dose study. Like I mentioned before, we need quick turnaround because I'm facing extremely tight timelines, and the lab was late getting me the data. Or worse enough, they might have sent me a data set that might be incorrect, and there's not enough time to get the lab to correct the data set and send me a new one. Another thing I might have to deal with is it's just me or my very small team, and none of us are programmers. So we have to do some modifications to correct this data set and get it ready for the NCA. And the same can be said for, creating the CDISC domains that we need for submission. If we don't have a programming group, then we'll have to make those from scratch as well. So for today's demo, the particular study we'll be working on is a single ascending dose that contains two dosing cohorts, 10 milligram and 20 milligram doses. Um, the data sets will contain intensive serial sampling on day 1. And like I mentioned before, this will necessitate the integration of multiple source data sets. So the source data I've received are a sampling data set and a dosing data set, and I need to merge those into one to do my analysis. So let's go over the main steps that we need to perform an analysis using WinNonlin, PK Submit, and Integral. So with any analysis, any new analysis that we perform, one of the first things we'll need to do is import the data into Phoenix Cloud, where we can then make sure it's being mapped to the appropriate data model so that it can be used throughout the analysis process. This will also include some steps involving merging of the data and data validation checks to make sure that the data we received and merged together isn't missing anything critical. And if it is missing critical information, we might need to make some additional modifications down the road. So one of the first things we need to do is we need to log into Phoenix Cloud. So that's what I'm doing here. Once I log in, I'll have access to Phoenix itself, WinNonlin, PK Submit, and Integral. So one of the first things I need to do for my analysis, I need to get into Integral and bring in the source data that was sent to us from the lab.